leader. Whether you're planning a renovation of your workplace this year, or you'd like to introduce some practical improvements in phases over time, or you're outright purchasing a new commercial space for your growing team, this episode is for you. You see, I am a workspace design freak, and I decided to indulge my interest by reaching out to a designer who specializes in this. Let's talk about what's hot, what's overrated, and what is absolutely necessary when you're considering the design of your workplace. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast, smart leadership for women who mean business. I'm Shelli Warren, your team and leadership coach, and your no-fluff guide to building a powerhouse team that actually gets the job done without you holding their hand every 5 minutes. You're not just a business owner, you're the leader now, and I'll help you step up, lead smart, and stop micromanaging. Stick with me and you'll learn how to hire, fire, and inspire a team you lead with confidence and finally get your night and weekends back. And here's the hard truth. The team that got you here may not be the team that gets you there. So let's trade burnout for bold leadership and stack your team. Sylvie Allain is the founder of Bureau Living, where she designs elevated high-performance spaces for CEOs, founders, and brands ready to lead from the inside out. She spent the last few years immersing in transforming corporate interiors, not just to look good, but to work harder for the people inside them. She's fully bilingual and lives in beautiful Moncton, New Brunswick, in our gorgeous Canadian Maritimes region, where she also teaches design at her local community college. She joins me today for an insightful conversation about key aspects of design that you can incorporate into your brick-and-mortar workspace, boost your team's performance, and express your brand without having to say a word about it to your clients and customers. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Stacking Your Team podcast, Sylvie.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm thrilled to have you because this particular conversation that we're going to have today is fully indulgent. I am a workplace design junkie. I always have been. I just thought, you know what? I want to do an episode that really talks about workplace design for a couple of reasons. So one, most of my listeners here know that I worked for 26 years for Procter & Gamble and traveled all over the place, not just in North America, but overseas as well. And I've seen workplace design from different angles in different regions, and I've just always been intrigued with it. Additionally, a lot of my clients own commercial property. Okay, so they're building out portfolios for their businesses, and they're needing some insight as to what should they really be doing in terms of, setting up their current workspace, but plus also thinking about expansion and buying bigger properties with more space, so whether it's treatment rooms or whether it's, just literally workspaces for their growing teams. They're interested in it as well. Now, additionally to that, I've had many interior designers come and work with me, and I love them because they just wow me with what their vision for their workplaces are just unbelievable. But so I feel like I am a spoiled podcast host today because I chose you. This is a topic I am in love with, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you that would help my listeners and my clients learn about how to be a better leader in terms of thinking about things they need to consider as they're designing their workspaces. So let's start with you telling us why workspace design versus, there's just many, many, many different modalities that you could have gone in the world of interior design, but why workspace design?
It really started in design school. So in design school, how it typically operates is you'll have different studio classes that have a different focus to give you that variety of experience. So you'll have a residential studio. And I remember when I did my studies, almost 20 years ago, we had a residential, a commercial. So we did a restaurant, I did a boutique, I did an office space, and we did some kind of institutional project. And I knew from that moment that workplaces were my favorite because there's such a complex set of criteria that you have to take into consideration when you're planning workspaces. Every project has its own, every type of project, I should say, has its own particularities. But something about workplaces just resonated with me, working with employers, working with leadership, working with entrepreneurs who are starting their own business, helping them build that vision and the intersection between human needs in the workplace and also the kind of more strategic needs, that kind of what you were describing earlier, and marrying all of that with workplace culture and brand identity. And it's also they tend to be very, very strategically minded projects. So you, like what you were just saying, is you're not just thinking about now, you're thinking about the next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and it's kind of following the growth of a company. So it's so encompassing and it's so complex, and that's what I think really drew me to it. I love puzzles, and to me, workplace design is among the most complex kind of interior design puzzle that you can be working on. So I think that's what really, it challenges me, and I really love that.
I love it too. I've always been fascinated with it because it's everything from the lobby to the washrooms, to the cafeteria, to the meeting rooms, to the collab space, to like cubicle nation, right? So like you kind of want to get away from the cubicle nation, which, I mean, in terms of efficiencies, we need to have workspaces that provide the quiet, the psychological safety zones, the confidentiality zones, as well as, just leaning into where people feel comfortable that they can really get down and make things happen. But when you want to offer a workplace experience for your team, regardless of how big it is, you really do need to do what you said. It's the whole picture. It's the whole design, and then offering different zones or spaces that are intentionally designed to fit particular activities in the workplace too. So I'm also a big texture freak. So I'm always really intrigued with furniture placement, art, greenery, buffers, like where things are quieter. And then, of course, now there's so much happening in the design world. Like, if you were to look at my Instagram feed, you might be surprised at how much of my Instagram feed is all about workplace design. I mean, I'm just fascinated by the whole thing. I'm just loving every bit of it. But how are you thinking about addressing the needs of your clients when they come to you? Like, are some common concerns that your clients have about creating a workspace experience for their teams?
It's always different per client, but I'd say some of the reoccurring themes that happen a lot, it could be, post-COVID changed everything. So I think everybody is kind of being challenged by the idea of hybrid working and kind of reconciling, what does that mean post-COVID? Are we keeping this on long term? Are we trying to force people back to the office? If so, how are we going to do that? How are we going to accommodate all that kind of creature comforts that we've been really accommodated by at home? How can I bring some of that into my office? And if I do want everyone back to the office more often, how can I make that happen maybe more organically as opposed to kind of forcing it through mandates? So that's a reoccurring challenge. I'd say another one is, how can I make my space feel like my company? So it's kind of like cultural and brand realignment, that sometimes looking at a really nice picture of a workspace and building it out to fit that picture doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fit you and your employees and your really unique culture that you have that every workplace has. So I think it's kind of fighting that sometimes and realigning certain decisions. And then there are also, more technology related challenges of, how can I support my team? How can I integrate technology? How can I future-proof with technology? Because it's always evolving, are really, really recurring. And, I would also say being strategic in our use of space. Nobody wants to just have a bunch of empty square feet that aren't being utilized. So how can I make the most of what I have? Or how can I rethink the use of workspaces to maybe be a reduction of square footage to help, re-inject that money into the quality of the space as opposed to the quantity of the space. So I'd say those are really, really recurring challenges.
I think it can be very overwhelming too for a business owner who is not an interior designer to think, oh my goodness, like I don't even know where to begin, right? So that's where they need someone like you that has that expertise to be able to come in and walk them through what are they looking to want to offer their teams. And I think you're right. The whole COVID work from home experience really led to a lot of team members having an expectation that, well, if I'm going back, if I have to go back into the office, A, I've got to commute there and I'm not happy about that. But then B, when I get there, I want some of those creature comfort options that I had when I was working at home. So I want the comfortability. I want a fully stocked kitchen. I want zones where I could do a call.
That's the thing is like, I'm going to be forced to be tethered to this workstation, this cubicle, like you were saying earlier, it's like Cube Nation, tethered to this cubicle in the center of a big open area. Maybe my technology isn't mobile. I can't go somewhere else to work. Or even if my tech is mobile, maybe there's not enough of a variety of types of spaces that I want, depending on what I want to do. So again, yeah, it's about what you just said is right, is offering variety and comfort I'd say even humanity. I can understand. I mean, I've certainly got accustomed and comfortable working from home. It can definitely be more comfortable, and it can be kind of jarring sometimes to be forced back into a situation instead of it being your choice. That, oh yeah, the office is so comfortable, and I get to see my coworkers, and I have all this flexibility within my workspace. Why wouldn't I want to go there?
The workplace designs that really help with your retention strategy are the ones that really do incorporate the acoustics that are helpful, that have the type of furniture that offer you choices throughout the day, beyond the stand-up desk, right? We all are, I think that was one of the things that people loved about work from home, is that they could go and work from the couch for a bit, or the back patio, or the dining room table, or their spare bedroom that they flipped into an office. There was options for them to move around in the day so that they were in a position that felt comfortable to do the particular task that they were going to do. And I think that's what people were dreading about having to go back into the quote unquote office, was feeling chained to the chair at the desk in Cubicle Nation, or in this wide open space where everyone's hearing your conversations. We got used to it. But then when we were introduced to a whole different experience, now we want that. So what are some of the other things that you're seeing, like in terms of trends of these business owners and companies that are wanting to, step into the modern world with what they're developing for their workspace designs? What are some of the really cool things that are happening out there?
Probably the best move is kind of resulting from COVID, what we were just talking about, the idea of comfort. So how can we bring comfort of home into the office, I think is probably the biggest overarching trend. How can we build flexibility and really develop an agile kind of workforce and an agile workspace that supports you no matter where you are or what you want to do? So like what you were saying, what am I doing right now? What is the task that I'm doing? And how can I choose the space that's best suited to that task? So I'd say the creature comforts are right, and variety being right. I think there's also increased awareness around wellness also that's resulting from COVID. So strategies around quality of air, quality of acoustics, thermal comfort, green spaces, variety, biophilia, which is, basically the design theory that being present around nature and representations of nature help your cardiovascular tension and your mood and your this and you can concentrate better and you're more empathetic. So I'd say those are all probably the biggest trends that really center, I think, all thematically center around human comfort in the workspace.
I love seeing the greenery and seeing the different lighting designs.
That's another good one, yeah.
With the control of the lighting is easy to adjust as well, right? So it's not like back in the day where we had the big fluorescent lights and they hummed and
all that. And like one light switch turns on a whole zone and you have no control over it. And maybe the sun is beaming in through the windows and the shades aren't sufficient. Or again, it's all about human comfort. So we're talking about acoustics. Lighting comfort is another really important one. Absolutely.
Now, some of my clients, they've done a million different things to try and trick out their workspaces. So I had a former client who was expanding into a whole new commercial building that she had bought. She was super excited about it. it was a therapy practice. So she had a big team of practitioners. And of course, every therapist had their own treatment room. And she thought it would be a good idea if she offered up to them that they could choose the paint color in their offices, which sounds wonderful, sounds caring, sounds like you're wanting to create a space of belonging. Not so great in the end, because what ended up happening was it was confusing for clientele that were coming in. Like, so what happened was she lost the brand and lost the comfort zone of the clientele that were being excited, warmly invited to go to this new, exciting new place. And so it didn't work out the way she intended. The other bit of that was, encouraging these paint parties, right? Where everyone was going to come in after hours on the weekends and paint their own room, kind of like bring your kids to work and, have them see where mommy or daddy works and, help set up mom's new office in this new building. Sounds wonderful. Did not come to fruition because some people just were not into it, didn't want to do it. Some people did do it, but they did a terrible job, so it just led to like tons and tons of rework. And it was really hard to watch that client go through that with so many wonderful intentions, but did not put the business first and did not put her brand first. And so everything suffered. Now, on the flip side, I have interior designers as clients who have expanded and who have so thoughtfully designed out a workspace that, I don't know why anyone would ever leave these workspaces. They are just so beautiful with so much attention to comfort and efficiency and productivity that it really becomes an extension of the brand.
And it should be
100%.
It's a secret weapon. Like if you have a workplace that you are not just client facing, but even just employee facing, it is a way that you can really underscore your vision and your values and how you are connecting to your clients and to your employees. It's a really, it's a secret weapon. So it's also a shame when this weapon is completely underutilized. It's not used. It's the workspace in itself. It's so generic and it doesn't speak to the unique culture or the unique brand. It's an opportunity missed.
Yeah, because people, I'm all with you on this because I like to encourage my clients to have a career portal on their websites, because I want them to always be hiring in terms of always having a role posting, always talking about what's coming up. Whether you're hiring someone this month or not, you can still do pre-screening, you can do first interviews, you can start to collect some really great candidates in advance of this crunch that now I need to hire someone. But on those career portals, those pages on your website, in my mind, they are, billion-dollar real estate opportunities, because people who are considering joining you, when they go to those career portals, they're looking for a few things. They're looking to see, does anybody here look like me? They're also looking to see, does anybody here look like, want to hang out with them? Like they might be my next friend, right? Because we do spend so much time with the people we work with. You are looking for friends. You definitely are looking for a social aspect of it. And then the other thing they're looking for is, what the heck is this place really look like? Like, is this website legit? What's really happening here?
Are these stock photos or is this?
Oh my goodness. And so if you can have videos and really nice professionally done photos that showcase the experience of your workplace, and then also I like to kick it up a notch and have my clients have little mini videos where team members actually are talking about their experience. Why did you join this company versus other companies? What was your onboarding like in the first year? How have you evolved with your skill set over the time that you've been here? But even seeing in the background what your team room looks like, seeing in the background that the place has personality.
Absolutely.
All of those things can really help a potential new team member decide if they're going to go with you or if they're going to go with someone else. And it also can weed people out. It absolutely will weed people out. Well, they'll look and they'll go, oh my goodness, this is no way. This is not a place for me, which is so important too. You don't want to waste anyone's time.
It's just as helpful to know who doesn't fit or who won't be happy than to know who does fit and who would be happy.
So I think there's that, billion-dollar real estate that we're not leveraging as small business owners, even as big corporations, showcasing your workspace on your socials, and on your website. I think it's just necessary now. It is absolutely necessary. Get in the game and think about how you can invest in your brand through some upgrades to workspace design. And it doesn't mean you need to drop in, a $500,000 upgrade with a new commercial space. It's thoughtful things that you can do even every year to kind of update that. So if you had a smaller budget, like Sylvie, what are some of the things that you would, if we kind of put them into like tiers, where it's like, low cost, big impact, and then a medium cost, bigger impact, and then of course, coming and working with you and really being able to trick out their workspace. What are some smaller things that don't cost as much but can really make a difference?
I think it's always the question of what you're trying to achieve. So if, let's say, we're trying to have big visual impact, changing finishes is a quick painting is relatively inexpensive, can be done relatively quickly. It can really refresh a space because lighting and paint is the quickest way to really transform a space. So I would invest in a variety of lighting. Maybe you can't replace all of the base building lighting that you have in a space, but adding options for people to have control of their space is what's going to make them feel more comfortable. If your goals are more to connect to your brand, well, I would then question the signage and the brand representation in the space. Are the logos the right logos in the right places? Do we need to rethink that and refresh that? Then maybe mid-tier furniture can be quickly very expensive. The thing about furniture as opposed to your real estate, your furniture belongs to you. It's it's something you purchase. It is yours. So if ever you do move, your furniture will follow you. And it's also something that I've seen employers resell furniture if they want to replace it, or sometimes they offer buyback programs for employees. You want it's the chair for you at home. Well, you can buy this one. We want new ones for the office, but you can buy this one at a reduced cost. So furniture, I would really distinguish from the rest of your project, the architectural part of your project, that unless you own the building, doesn't really belong to you. You're leasing. So that might be a more enticing to invest long term because it's a purchase. It's not just an investment, a capital investment. And then, of course, if you are looking to invest more money, my recommendation would be to start work with an interior designer. First of all, establish a strategy. And if, all the components or the factors, everything can't be done in 1 year, well, a good designer will help you parse that out strategically over the next few years. We'll start with this, and then we'll do this, and we'll do that, and we'll move in a strategic way, but always towards this one end goal. And you'll know what the end goal that you're reaching for is. And if ever more investment can be made in 1 year, then your designer can help you kind of choose where you're best to put that money in the right place. For any client that's considering any major investment, I would absolutely say work with a professional. So go to, Shelli, you were saying you're in Ontario. So in Ontario, the provincial association is called ARIDO. So it's the Association of Professional Interior Designers. Every province in Canada has one. Go to them, find a registered interior designer, because that's something that is very misunderstood about working with designers, is the qualifications that are required. There are a lot of horror stories of people who pretend to be designers or who show themselves on Instagram to be designers, and they've got what looks to be a really great portfolio. And then a bump in the road happens, and, there's a realization that, oh no, this person doesn't have the qualifications to do the job that they need to do. So before any big investments are made, make sure that you're working with the right designer for you.
Yeah, that's really important too. Some of the things that I really love to see when I am out and about, and I'm always keeping an eye open for design, is I'm always interested. Like I pay attention to things like window treatment. I pay attention to messaging. So graphics on the walls in strategic places. So it's not like overwhelming where every blank wall has some sort of motto or lingo there. But I think strategically placed, it can be important. I'm also a big fan of whiteboards, but not just your Staples whiteboard thrown up on a wall. Like I'm really into having those whiteboards, pinstriped with Lamicoids, like really having the productivity and the efficiencies mapped out on those whiteboards as well. And then, one of the things that we did back in my Procter & Gamble days, we renovated a whole big section of the property and to introduce a whole new series of team meeting rooms. And we decided that because we're Brockville, Ontario, city of the Thousand Islands, every room was going to be named after one of the well-known islands here. And it was really fun. It gave the room a personality. So instead of saying, "Oh, can you go book a room?" and then you got the meeting invite, the location, was, Chimney Island room or whatever. Like it reminded people about where they are, the impact that we have in the community, and then visitors that were there. It was always a conversation starter. Always. People just wanted to learn more about the region and the Thousand Islands.
Exactly. Because your space, as we were saying earlier, it's a great opportunity for you, for your brand, but it's a storytelling opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So you can connect to a community, you can connect to a history, you can connect to so many different things through your space, through little things and little details like that. It's much more profound than just a workplace. It really connects to something more human, and it, like you said, people will love it because it tells a story of something. So someone who knows what that Chimney Island is will, "Oh, I have a cottage there," or something or other, or somebody else will ask, like, "Wait, which one is that one?" or "What is this?" Or those are just, again, creating more opportunities for connection, for interaction, for discussion, for personalization, for, putting your unique whatever culture or your unique space forward. And every workspace is unique, even if it's two of the same business in the same market in the same region, they're still going to be different. So a powerful design will find whatever is unique about that particular client and help them tell a story about it through their workspace.
Yeah, and I think there's other options, that people don't always tap into, especially if you have a workspace where your clients are coming to visit you. It's a great opportunity for you to have a bit of a history board, and to also showcase your work. Showcase your work. Get it framed professionally. It doesn't have to cost you $1 million to really design a nice storyboard wall space, where as your clients are sitting and waiting in the lobby, or as you're moving them from the lobby or the parking lot to the lobby into a showroom that you're going to speak to them with, or whether they're going into some sort of a meeting room or a gathering space, a boardroom of sorts, that as they're moving through your space, they're getting a feel for who you are, what you stand for, and the work that you deliver, which adds a whole other level of comfort and confidence for them to decide to want to work with you.
Yeah. What you were saying earlier was also true, that workplaces will attract the right employees. It will also attract clients.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you are trying to attract as your ideal client or as your ideal partner in business, your workspace is a lever that you can use to communicate that in either maybe more direct ways, like with logos, or displaying. If you have an award, like display it properly. Don't just like put it on a side table, like put that thing in center, display it. But then there's also more subtle ways, just in the colors that you are choosing, the quality of the feeling of the ambiance of the space. Does the space feel modern, or does it feel slightly more traditional? Does it feel kind of cozy, or does it feel impressive? Or, how do I feel when I walk into this space? That feeling is really, really important. Because if everything is aligned, then you're telling the right story. But if it's when there's a misalignment that you could be throwing off, the right person that you're looking for will be turned off by that message and won't think, no matter what you say, they will feel that there is some kind of disalignment, and it'll come off as maybe not authentic or not genuine, or something I need to mistrust, which is never what anybody wants.
Yes. Okay. Well, before I let you go, I'd love to know, what is one design trend that you think is overrated?
Ooh.
Or just a general design trend that you think is overrated? So I'll tell you one of the things that drives me absolutely bonkers, because it's a mystery to me, I don't understand it, is when I see a grouping on a coffee table. So whether it's in a home or it's in a workspace, and there's a beautiful bowl, some sort of vessel, and then there's this random piece of beading with a fringe that kind of spills out over the bowl. Every time I see that, I think to myself, what is this? Am I missing the storyboard here? Am I complete?
The little boho cord doesn't really speak to you.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. I find it confusing, and it makes me question my design aesthetic. Every time I see it, I think, I just don't get that. So is there something that you're seeing out there that you think it might be really popular or super trendy right now and you think, oh, good grief, like that's so overrated?
I have a short answer, a long answer. I think long answer, anytime any style becomes so homogenized. I'm thinking back a few years when every single space or high-end space or every influencer out there was like, oh, everything is white and is beige and is it's the same details as the boucle fabric. It's the exact same kind of combination of elements, and they always get kind of the similar result. And it lacks any kind of uniqueness or personality. That always really throws me off because it tells me nothing about the person who lives there or the company. And I just find it really off-putting because spaces should be very personal and personalized. So I would say long answer is spaces that lack personality. Short answer, maybe more to the example that you were giving, I don't understand why everything needs to be arched. Arched doorways, arched cabinets, arched this, arched that. Arches are beautiful. Not every single opening or square thing needs to be made arched, and it doesn't always look great, especially when people are in a very positive and a good intentioned way trying to kind of DIY these solutions and turn these square things into arches. Squares and like linear structures are just as beautiful and have just so much interest as well. So you don't think that every single opening in your space needs to be arched or else it's not pretty or it's ugly or whatever. No, like just leave the square opening on its own. It'll be fine.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one. And what is a favorite element of yours that you like to see in a workspace that most people overlook? Like they just forget about it or they don't include it in the budget or they don't add it to the design?
I think what I tend to see a lot of people do is underestimate the amount of tech they're going to need in their spaces. It's a mistake that happens a lot is not putting the extra outlet here and there or future proofing to add something here in the future, because it's the kind of thing that it does cost quite a bit upfront. Like electromechanical infrastructure in a project is a big component of a big financial ticket of a project. But it's the kind of thing when you don't do it now when you're building out, it's really annoying to do it afterwards because you have to open up your walls and run your cabling, or you're going to have exposed cabling, which is just, never as nice as if it was just integrated. So spend the extra money up front now and at least get the cabling and the boxes in, and then you can run the wires and everything later if you don't want to do that cost right away. But think about it in the future, like future proof right now for that kind of stuff, because it's often underestimated and it's just a real nightmare to do afterwards.
It is, and it looks ugly. Like when you've got all these cords and you're tripping over the cords and it makes everything look ugly. Well,
technology needs to be there, but it should be seamless and invisible. Like you shouldn't feel the tech present, but it just needs to be present. So it's a balancing act.
I love that. Well, thanks so much for spending some time with us today, Sylvie, and educating us. Can you tell our listeners how can they stay in touch with you? What's the best way for them to see what you're up to?
Well, they can follow my Instagram. So my design firm is Bureau Living, or bureauliving.ca is my website. My personal socials, Sylvie Allain as well. I share a lot of content about workplace design. Obviously, it's my central focus, and the importance of workplace design and just the importance of design in general and the impact that it has in our lives. So you can follow my personal account or my business account. I talk a lot about design. So if you're interested in that, follow me there.
Well, I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. My mind is still absorbing all of the ideas Sylvie shared with us today. This conversation also reminded me about how important it is to have a workplace that reflects your brand and the experience you want your clientele to feel when they visit you. And let's not forget about how important retention is. So show off your workspace on your career portal page at your website. Create some social media posts highlighting your team in action at work. Help people see what it would be like to join your team and get hired to work alongside them. It also reminded me about how important it is that although most people would like to personalize their workspace, their desk, their office in some way, that can go sideways pretty quickly. And now it's true that people who go overboard in decorating their little corner of their work world often do so because they feel it reflects their identity and helps them stand out from their peers. But the downside is that it confuses your brand and can often make your workplace look disorganized, even junky, and that's never good. Our workspaces are judged just as much as we are in terms of our hygiene, appearance, and competence. So don't shy away from setting standards with photos or even a demo desk that features items that fit the aesthetic you're going for. Think about it. We've all seen those workspaces where every chair is different. Same for the desks, and every kind of window blind known to man is there. And then there's the variety of those organizing tools like cabinets and whiteboards and recycle bins. And don't get me started on paint. When there isn't a standard, things easily become overstimulating, even haphazard, and unfortunately, people think the team behaves that way too. Now, I've experienced the other extreme where corporate housekeeping standards were so rigid that everything was steel gray, cold, easily put back to base each day, and not a paper in sight on any desk after hours. Clean design was in the order of the day. Super minimalistic, extreme organization, and no life. Until we brought in live plants, better lighting, and some color in soundproofing walls and privacy barriers. Of course, the cafeterias were colorful, and we did have a Zen room, and our team rooms for meetings were well appointed, albeit the chairs were never really comfortable. My way of dealing with that steel gray and beige atmosphere was to purchase pretty folders and bright leather notebooks and colorful pens. Yeah, that was my life for a long while. If you are a workplace design junkie like I am, you've probably noticed on your Instagram feed that the vibe of community or collaboration spaces are evolving. Soft edges, lots of textured furniture, mobile furniture, and tech ease built right in. There's so much new and creative thinking happening for workspace design now. So you can see that finding some harmony between stark and crisp workspaces and comfortable and welcoming is where it's at, while also keeping in mind that your team wants to feel both comfortable and energized every day at work. This might look like having some fun seasonal decorating activities for Christmas or when someone gets engaged or has a baby. Those moments can be fun and temporary. It can also look like giving your team some choices to select the paint in their offices, the team rooms, or the kitchenette, chosen from a small selection of colors that will nicely complement your brand and the overall vision of your workspace. For more ideas, I want to encourage you to follow Sylvie on Instagram. All of her links are in the show notes. She'll wow you with her expertise and her easy way of talking about design. If you're tuning into the podcast, it's likely because you've grown your business, but your team still depends on you for everything. You know, every woman in the Leadership Lab started there too. The Leadership Lab gives you tools, coaching, and accountability to build a team that runs without you. No more hand-holding. You'll go from managing people to leading leaders so you can focus on your highest valued work that you love doing. Don't go it alone. We're welcoming new members right now. So don't wait till next month, the next quarter, or next year. Join us now and instantly feel better prepared to lead differently by visiting stackingyourteam.com. I can't wait to support you. If today's episode helps you see your leadership in a new way, I'd love to hear about it. Come connect with me on Instagram, where I'm at Stacking Your Team, and tell me what's troubling you about your team right now. And hey, if you're tuning into this podcast because you work somewhere and you want to develop your leadership skills, I invite you to start following our sister company, Thousand Islands Leadership Consulting. Check us out on Instagram or LinkedIn so you can chart your course to the next level of leadership.
This is Ellie. Come back next Tuesday. My Mimi will have another episode for you.